All right, week 3, Chargers versus Vikings. The line is even. I hate that. Interestingly, the model says those guys are crazy, saying the Vikings should blow them out. It's also, and then when it adjusts, those are the raw numbers. When they adjust it, it says, yeah, the model has been under evaluating the Chargers. And that it's really going to be more like 7.5 point game. So which is a lot more believable. Again, this early in the year, this is a data-driven model, so it's only going off of 2 games. So take that for what it's worth. With that, both teams are 0-2, but as we go through and look at the data, I think one of the things that's pretty clear to me is that right now, when you look at how well the Chargers are doing, they've certainly lost 2 close games to Miami, who is a very good team, and Tennessee Titans, who I don't think is a very good team at all. And then Minnesota, they lost to Tampa Bay, close game. I don't think they should have lost that game, but they did. They found a way. And then they lost to probably what should be a good Eagles team, but has not been playing well. So again, it's early in the year. These teams are going to progress. I think the odds are based upon what they think both of these teams are, but not what the data has shown that these teams are. So that's always interesting. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide and kind of look at what the data here is. So when you look at the data on how these two match up, is it saying that the Minnesota pass game is going to match up very well against Chargers passing defense. It's not expecting Minnesota to be able to run the ball for anything, but that notwithstanding, and one of the other things, like I said, when you look at these numbers, is it looks as though that's showing Herbert as really just being a pretty darn good quarterback by those numbers, with Minnesota, with Kirk Cousins being, a Super Bowl an all pro level quarterback, which in all honesty kind of can be. So a couple of things, but then what it does is the model adjusts to say, hey, look, the Chargers scoring more points than what their yards would suggest and what the matchup would suggest. And I would think that that's probably correct. I don't think it's an 18-point game, but again, it still has a pretty sizable advantage for Minnesota. And when you look at some of these, some of the data, you can see why the model is saying that. It's just saying, when you come down here, is it saying, hey, they're not protecting Justin Herbert, and furthermore, saying that Minnesota has been really explosive. One of the things that the model is really going to struggle with is garbage yards. Both of these teams are 0-2. Kirk Cousins has got a phenomenal arm, and it's amazing how many yards a team can rack up in the fourth quarter when the other team is a bend don't break and let them just run the clock down. Sometimes I can exaggerate the score. That's why I try and use the Bayesian revision to say, hey, let's compare the actual points to what they really did compared to the model. Because if a quarterback is throwing for 400 yards a game, but a lot of those are garbage yards, it's really deceiving. Now, the one thing I do know is when you come down here and you look at the overall explosiveness, I don't think you can see nearly as much explosiveness in those garbage times. Well, my phrase, I think you can, but nonetheless, you're not going to. San Diego, the Chargers are clearly, they haven't demonstrated the explosiveness, which I think we're waiting to see. That's the reason why I think they're calling it even. I believe the odds makers don't really think Minnesota's that good either, but they're not protecting the quarterback. That's going to be a problem. One of the things I will point out, which is going to throw things off, is it really shows that the Chargers, and they want to do this, they want to run a lot of plays, and if they start connecting on those plays, yeah, it's going to be a close game. But thus far, that offense has yet to click. And the one thing I'll say about both the Chargers and the Vikings, if there is a way for two teams to find ways to lose, those teams have long histories of finding ways to lose. So then it's really hard to pick a winner when these two teams match up, because they both are working hard to find a way to mess it up. Sorry for those of you out there who are Chargers and Vikings fans. I have a feeling that you know exactly what I mean, though. So anyhow, those are my predictions. I'm going to take Minnesota, and good luck.